Welcome to a nourishing midweek lunch hour conversation with Spokane's newsmakers, thought leaders, and popular entertainers. Spokane Talks Live is brought to you by our friends at Homes for You and Breakthrough Incorporated. Welcome to Spokane Talks Live.
Welcome. It's Wednesday, the 9th of May. Spokane Talks Live. I'm Kent Adams. Todd Mielke, CEO of GSI, otherwise known as Greater Spokane Incorporated, is going to be here. They've been doing some tremendous things going on with business in our community. We'll talk about that. And then a declared candidate for the mayor's spot here in the City of Spokane, Shawn Poole, will be here. Next on Spokane Talks Live.
Hi everyone, I'm weather forecaster and assignment anchor at Spokane Talks Online, Colin Pittman, and I am honored to be the host of the new program, Spokane's Youth Spotlight, brought to you by Spokane Talks Online and the Spokesman Review, where we are interviewing and getting to know outstanding youth in our community each month. If you'd like to nominate someone in our community that you think should be recognized, that is doing something great here in the region, or has an amazing story, visit SpokaneTalksOnline.com or Spokesman.com and look under Youth Spotlight to nominate. And be sure to tune in each month as we find the best in the Inland Northwest.
It is the 9th of May, and my first guest is Todd Mielke, who had some excuse to be somewhere last month when he was supposed to be here. You were working for us last month, weren't
Absolutely.
you? Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's always a valid excuse, okay? When you call and say you can't come over because, Kent, I've got to go and represent the city and encourage business to come to Spokane and all the other good things that go on, that works, okay? That works here, okay?
Well, and I know we always send a great replacement,
Right.
very capable people that know what we're doing as well.
Well, and you guys talk about doing stuff. You and I were just chatting as we went into the program, and I've got a list that is a mile long. I don't know how we're going to get through it because not only has it been 2 months, but GSI is doing so much. And let's talk about first. You just got an award.
We did.
For your involvement, meaning GSI's involvement with Fairchild Air Force Base.
Absolutely. And so, and the first thing I would say is our role is to represent this region.
Yes.
And so, so while the award goes to GSI, it goes to GSI on behalf of the Spokane community. And what this is the Abilene Trophy. It is one of the most prestigious awards. It actually comes out of the Abilene Chamber of Commerce, and it goes to the community that is most supportive of Air Force airmen. Right. Under the Air Mobility Command. And so this is the 4th time we've won it since the creation of this award back in the 1990s.
Oh, fun.
And this
is
last
is
year,
that the most wins, do you think?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. It's got to be close.
You would think so.
If not, it's got to be close. Yes. But really, this community has come together. You know, we certainly understand the unfortunate issue with the water crisis that Fairchild experienced last year. You know, anyone that's using the fire-preventing foam is in the same boat, so it's not exclusive to Fairchild. But this community really rallied with a nice understanding of the situation. We have worked really hard as a community to support the airmen, everything from sending care packages when they're deployed to supporting their families when they're here.
Well, not to mention the creation of the base.
Absolutely.
And the property from the very beginning.
It was the business, and I keep every meeting I have with your person, I keep reminding them, it was the business community in Spokane that purchased all the property 76 years ago and gave it to the federal government.
Including Clear Lake and some other things too, right?
Specifically for an air depot. Right. And so we've been a big champion of it ever since. And we're very happy to realize that in the last 18 months, the work that we've done with many partners in this community is making Fairchild the largest tanker base in the nation. And so we're going to see more and more planes coming, aren't they? They're coming in. Yes. And like I said, it's because of the support that this community grants.
Right.
So it's a good thing.
Some other things are going on with Fairchild in the military too.
Yes. So a couple of things that we do, besides, like I say, trying to advocate. We were in Washington, D.C. recently and had a visit at the Pentagon. Okay. But we certainly advocate for the capital needs of that base, the capital projects. And when you accommodate more aircraft, that means you have to accommodate more staff. Yes. And you have to accommodate more capital projects. Yes. And so we're going to see an additional $100 million a year over and above what they already spend in construction for the next few years to accommodate this influx.
What a great opportunity for our community.
community.
It is. As a community, we're going to have to figure out housing.
Yes.
We're
Because we're
stretched to our limits.
We're inviting people in, and yet you know what's going on in the marketplace right now. It's
Absolutely.
crazy.
2 Sundays ago, in the local newspaper, was a full feature talking about how many people are moving from Central Puget Sound to Spokane.
Yes, yes.
And so we have people discovering us, and we need to think about how we provide the infrastructure to provide for them. But anyway, so those are the things we're doing with regard to Fairchild the Base. But the other thing is next week we're hosting, in partnership with the Lilac Foundation, the Let Freedom Ring annual breakfast.
Yes,
And
yes.
this is our opportunity to really recognize outstanding men and women in the military. And really, not only are we acknowledging what they do in the military, but more so, we're acknowledging what they do in the community.
And they do get involved.
Yes.
I mean, I think way back to almost 40 years ago when I was involved with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, many of them were our Air Force people.
Right.
Who
Yes.
wanted to give some time and give back to the community. That's just one example.
Right, and that's the recognition that we're giving at that breakfast. So Let Freedom Ring is next week on Thursday at the historic Davenport for people who want to turn out and buy a ticket and support the military presence here.
So how do they get tickets?
Have them call GSI.
Okay.
Have them call Greater Spokane Incorporated.
Okay.
Our main number, and just say that you're interested in buying a ticket to that event.
Great.
So yes.
You have Alicia
Yes.
Benson, who got recognized, and just has she already gone?
Yes.
Or is she, okay.
Yes, earlier this week.
Okay.
So Alicia Benson is the Chief Operating Officer at Greater Spokane Incorporated. She's a rock star. She's absolutely amazing, and I'm very proud to have her as part of my team. She has, for a long time, led our efforts with regard to education, attainment, and workforce, trying to help develop the talent pool that we have in this community that becomes so attractive for employers to grow here and to locate here.
And we've moved away from talking, as we did a couple of decades ago, of saying we have lots of low-wage talent here, that we've now got trained talent
That's
here.
right.
And there's a difference, because we were touting how cheap labor we have, which I thought was the wrong way to go.
Absolutely.
And now we've grown up.
Yes.
And we talk about that we have a trained labor force, that you can bring a plant here, you can bring an operation here, and we've got people who can figure your answers out.
Yeah. Not only are we focusing on making sure that we have the top skill sets, but we have this inherent work ethic that many employers just don't find in other communities. And so, and then overall, the communities just, the nature when they say, you've got the friendliest people who live in Spokane, walk down the street, they make eye contact, they smile, hi, how are you doing, and actually
Is that allowed?
Actually wait for a response, But I will say, so Alicia, what Alicia was able to do, because of all of her efforts, we have continued to be recognized at Greater Spokane Incorporated for best practices in education attainment. When I said the Washington State Student Achievement Council is coming over next week and we're hosting them, it's because they want to know how we are helping working adults go back to school. And they said, you got this Greater Minds program, and everywhere we go in the nation, people keep saying, well, have you gone to Spokane and figured out Greater Minds? And it's like,
and we've had people on to talk about that. What a great program.
It is.
It really is.
And so, so Alicia had a chance because we house the STEM network in GSI. We house Business After School. We have Greater Minds for working adults. All this stuff trying to increase and improve the talent set of the folks that we have in our workforce. And so Alicia was asked to be the keynote speaker at the National STEM Summit meeting in Huntsville, Alabama. And so so she just returned late last night.
Did she have fun?
I think she did.
Yeah.
It's
you haven't seen her yet, is what you're saying.
I haven't. She's been in her office with the door closed, trying to do work.
Play catch up.
But I think that's pretty amazing that not only do we get recognized for best practices and innovation in education, but that we're being asked to go and present at a national level about
Spokane.
what Spokane is doing and what other parts of the nation should be looking at. So it's a great honor and great work by her.
Yeah, you've got Association of Washington Business.
Yes.
Having a meeting, is it next week?
Next week. So a number of activities coming in. So Association of Washington Business, which is the state chamber of commerce.
Right.
We do a lot of work with them. They do their spring meeting here. So they'll be here next week. One of their
They just want to come and see the carousel and the things downtown. That's what they're really coming for, Todd.
Well,
they're not coming to see you and GSI. They're coming to see the improvements of Riverfront Park.
Well, keep in mind that the head of Association of Washington Business his first job out of college was working for Greater Spokane Incorporated.
Okay.
So I think he's got an affinity towards coming back
Yeah.
to Spokane. So they'll
Now,
be in
who
town.
is that?
Chris Johnson.
Okay.
Chris Johnson.
Okay, I was trying to remember who it was. Yeah.
Yes. So Chris will bring his entourage and his board over for their meeting, and Sully Sullenberg,
Yes.
the famous pilot that
yes.
landed his plane
on the Hudson.
on the Hudson, and had everyone get out safely.
Yes.
Will be the evening speaker
Wow.
next week. So he'll be in town. So if
it's hard to get better than that.
yeah, if people are walking down the street and you go, that guy looks really familiar.
yeah.
That's why. So
That's the plain truth.
yes. So
okay,
absolutely,
yeah.
I'll give you credit for that one. Kind of.
You shouldn't. You just encourage me.
So AWB will be in town.
Yeah.
Washington Student Achievement Council will be in town, taking a look at what we're doing, and then we'll also be participating at the beginning of next month with the Washington Roundtable.
Okay.
Which is CEOs from around the state. They haven't been to Spokane for quite a number of years, but Betsy Coles is the
Yeah.
chair this year.
Okay.
We have a couple of other CEOs in the area like Pete Stanton and Scott Morris that are involved as
Right,
well.
right.
But this is the first time that group will be coming to Spokane.
Wow.
And a lot of those are Puget Sound companies.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about why Spokane is a great option
And
as they
a
continue
lot of
to
them,
grow.
especially with the Seattle city and what the city's doing over there,
Yes.
which is just so anti-business.
The head tax.
You know, and all of that. They're starting to look outside, and they're looking at Spokane.
Yes,
We're
they
going
are.
to talk. Let's take a quick break. We're going to talk about economic development and all of those good things because we've got a great story to tell here.
Yes, we do.
First of all, before we go to break, I just want to say thank you to GSI. You know, we've done for a couple of years, this will be our third year, a series called Meet the Candidate, where
Yep.
we invite the candidates in for all the area offices. It's very safe in that it's not a debate. It's 10 minutes of who are you, where'd you grow up, why do you want to run for this office, no real heavy questions. It's just a chance to be kind of a video voter's guide.
Right.
And GSI stepped up to be one of our sponsors. We appreciate that
Yes,
because
absolutely.
we really believe it's not a moneymaker for us at all. It's a community service, and we appreciate you and the others who've stepped up to help cover our costs.
You
So
bet.
it's a great service.
And
Thank you.
When we come back from the break, let's talk about the importance of the voters being involved in selecting who the people are that are making these
Oh my
important
gosh,
decisions.
yes. We could spend the next 2 hours on that.
Yes.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
To find the right home for you, you'll work with your realtor to compare the properties you're interested in, analyze the market, and figure out a reasonable offer price. And now, here you are, ready to make an offer. Yay, you! Here's how it works. First, you'll complete an offer sheet which your realtor will then present to the owner. Sometimes, a nice note to the owner can help your offer stand out. Butter them up. Tell them how much you love their garden, that it reminds you of gardening with your grandmother as a child. Do not mention you're gonna bulldoze it and put in a pool. The owner may accept the offer, reject it, or counter. It's important to be in close contact with your realtor during the negotiation process so any changes can be reviewed. Your realtor is like your consigliere, and that makes you the Don. Once your offer is finally accepted, there are usually some contingencies that must be met in order to keep the contract alive. Inspections are totally common in real estate transactions. They include termite checks, surveys to determine boundaries, appraisals to determine value for lenders, title reviews, and structural inspections. This stuff is mind-numbingly fascinating. But you know what's even more fascinating? Actually getting your new house.
To help you be safe, Washington state law requires you to call 811 2 full business days before you plan, for example, to dig, drill, plow, pull from, or pound anything into the ground. Be prepared to provide the operator with the correct address, cross street, and the description of your work. You must mark the dig area with white paint. The operator will inform you of the utilities notified of your impending excavation. Wait for all their marks. Be safe and dig with care.
Kent Adams here. Guest is Todd Mielke, Greater Spokane Incorporated, otherwise known as GSI.
Yes.
Let's talk about, I mean, there's just so much going on. Let's talk about the DC trip.
Right.
Yeah.
So once a year, we do a region-wide, we ask business leaders to go back and really talk about the needs for this region.
Right.
And we go back to Washington, D.C. It's a joint chambers trip. We do it in partnership with the West Plains Chamber of Commerce and with the...
Kind of like you do to Olympia.
Yeah, with the Greater Spokane Valley Chamber. So we do the Olympia trip every year for the state issues.
Right.
And then we go to Washington, D.C. We had 55 people on this trip, which is... whenever you get that many people that trek all the way across the nation,
that's like herding cats a little bit.
It is. It is. But we were there for 3 days and had a chance to do visits with all of our congressional delegation.
Good.
So our senators and a number of our House members from the Northwest. We had a chance. One of the things that we do every year is we try to promote businesses that are involved in export.
Okay.
And so every year we try to visit one of the embassies. And so typically we have a reception and we bring in their senior staff.
Yeah.
So before I became affiliated with GSI, the Canadian Embassy, but since I've been there, we have had the pleasure to be at the Japanese Embassy.
Wow!
Last year we were at New Zealand. This year we were at the Irish Embassy.
Okay.
And so that was a great dialogue about the things.
Good.
What's interesting is
it's making them aware of.
We're one of the biggest sources of their hops. Washington State.
Really?
We send hops over there.
In that direction?
They change it into Guinness, and then we pay more to get it back. Yeah. But had a great discussion about import-export between the U.S., specifically Washington State and
Can I guess
Irish.
what they served?
You can guess.
Yeah.
A little bit of whiskey and some beers and a little bit of wine. So yeah. So we were at the Irish Embassy.
Good.
And then we also had great meetings with the National Institute for Health on their medical research grants and Department of Transportation. With the VA, the Veterans Administration, who are also very much interested in getting involved with helping on medical education, specifically the residency slots that we want in this community. We met with the Department of Interior. They have an interest in maybe co-locating some of their offices in the Spokane area.
Okay.
I mentioned transportation. We met with the Pentagon. We spent a half a day at the Pentagon meeting with senior officials there. We were at the White House, and then also had a chance to meet with the International Economic Development Council. It's a national organization specializing in.
Well, there's no rest for the wicked on your trip, is there?
So it was a good trip.
Yeah.
And like I say, we keep them busy. Some of the folks get there and they're not quite used to the time change, and so it's a little bit of struggle the early afternoon of the second day.
Yeah.
But I think
I've been to DC really twice, and you're right. Oh boy, that does hit you. It does hit you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So great delegation, a lot of participation, and like I say, I think we do it like very few other communities do it.
Economic development, a lot going on, so much positive. I mean, nationally, the unemployment numbers are down, the jobs. I mean, we've had trouble finding some people because the job market's good out there, which is great for everybody. It really is. I don't want to complain. I think it's great. And obviously, many of our social problems go away when people are employed and they're contributing to the community instead of taking from the community. But there's some good things going on, including maybe like a box store.
Yes.
Okay. So we don't want to mention Amazon by name, do we?
So we have a few things going on, and let me just back up one more thing on the DC trip.
Yes.
Some of the important issues that Congress is debating right now is the Farm Bill.
Yes.
We have $1 billion of economic impact in this region due to agribusiness, and so that's an important one that we track very carefully. We've been participating in kind of roundtable discussions with Senator Cantwell and with Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rogers.
Right.
The other one is lots of discussion on international trade.
Yes.
We are the most trade-dependent state in the nation.
Yes.
And so this stuff
does
make a difference.
So don't screw us up, right?
Amazingly enough, the most recent sanctions on Russia, specific to metal and steel, is impacting companies right here in Spokane. And so we've been involved in that, where those sanctions cut off their ability to do business with some of their major customers. And so so those are all important things. FAA reauthorization for is an important one for Spokane International Airport.
Right.
And then we also have the Education Reauthorization Act,
Okay.
which impacts all of our local colleges.
Yeah.
And so lots of stuff going on in DC.
And you talked about the airport, and we had Larry Crowder on here a couple
Mm-hmm.
weeks ago, and you know, honestly, we can sometimes be very cynical about government
Right.
and government operations and all that. But he was talking about the lines, the TSA lines and so forth, that's being addressed, and another line will be available here in another few weeks
Right.
as we hit into the summer season. And then another problem is the parking issue, which will be addressed and ready for the holiday season.
Right.
I mean, talk about responding to the things that are real. And then there's the down the road major improvements that will happen in about a year and a half from now that start. But it's so good to see local government like that step up and get it done.
Right. Spokane International Airport has seen about just under 23% growth in the last 3 years.
Yes.
It is one of the fastest growing airports of its size in the nation.
Yes.
And the last time I spoke to Larry, he's saying, Todd, we've essentially had a year and a half, 2 years of growth crammed into the last 9 months.
Yeah. Yes.
And so people are discovering Spokane.
Yes.
They're understanding they can stay connected to the outside world,
the
their
impact
customers.
for our businesses, the impact for Visit Spokane and all the conventions and things that go on.
Right.
It's and now I've sent a note to a couple people who have parents and friends in Denver and Fort Worth and so forth, that now you can get direct flights, or there are more choices available.
Dallas, Fort Worth,
Yeah.
a couple to Chicago, L.A.,
Well,
all up and
one
down
of
the
our
West Coast.
interns is going to go to TCU, and he flies to Dallas, Fort Worth.
Right.
Now there are direct flights.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
He's going to like that.
Well, and we have these relationships
Yeah.
with the airlines that we didn't have before. I mean, coming up later this month, we'll have the CEO of Horizon Air coming in to speak to our board.
Nice.
And say, talk to me, give me your input.
Yeah.
What do we need to be doing to serve you better
Yeah.
in this community? So that's
What else is going on in economic development? We're going to run out of time in
You
a
bet.
couple minutes.
So a couple of big things. First of all, we have a delegation that's going to be going to the Bio Conference in Boston. It is the largest conference of life and health science companies in the nation. So that's the first week of June. We'll be there. We'll be looking for companies that might be interested in looking at Spokane.
Okay.
We do have Boeing looking at what they call their NMA project. This is a replacement aircraft for the 767, highly anticipated. So by the end of the year, I think they're going to make a decision of where they want to produce this. And
So part of it might be produced here?
We hope so, because they seem to be bursting at the seams at their Renton facility and their Everett facility.
Right,
And so,
right.
hopefully we'll make the case that Spokane is a great place for
Good,
them to be.
good.
And then the other one, as you mentioned, the large box that's going to be going into the West Plains. It looks like everything is getting taken care of, and the project is moving forward.
So you think it's very likely?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
They are negotiating the purchase on the property. They have retained a local engineering firm to coordinate all their construction.
Wow.
When they came in at the beginning of this year, there was a decision already made that they wanted to be in Spokane.
Oh, wow.
The identity of the company has been under non-disclosure
Right.
with all the direct parties that are involved.
Right.
But I will tell you that I know this community worked very hard to present a great case for Amazon to consider. If you take a look at, and really there's only a couple of large distribution companies that meet the specs on this one, and it would be Costco, it would be Walmart, it would be Amazon, maybe UPS or FedEx.
Right.
But essentially, we're talking about 2.4 million square feet,
Right.
More than double the size of the Caterpillar facility on the
Right.
West Plains, and we're talking just under 2,000 employees.
Wow.
For this facility.
Wow.
And so again, we're expecting an announcement soon.
Okay.
Like I said, there's a handful of companies, maybe a half a dozen companies that meet this, but it doesn't take a lot of work and to recognize that Amazon has almost an identical facility that they're putting up in Oregon, and another one, I believe, in Missouri. So if it's them,
to the
great.
success of Amazon in Seattle, that we may benefit.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it's them, great. If it's one of the other companies,
Still
we
gonna be
welcome
great.
them as well.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
we are a transportation hub, so it makes a lot of sense.
Wow. One last thing
Sure.
that you wanted to talk about, and that is because of your sponsorship, but because of it just being GSI, the getting out and getting to know who the candidates are and voting,
Yes.
the importance of stepping up in voting.
We have a number of important elections that are up this year.
Yes.
And we look at it from the perspective of our ability to be successful in this community is that businesses know that they can prosper here and they can be
Yes.
successful here.
Right.
For those that don't think it should be just a pure discussion about the business, then I will appeal to those who want their kids to grow up and still be able to find jobs in this community and not move away.
Because we all went through a period where our kids and my kids
We're exported.
talked about the only place they could find a job would be, Dad, after high school and college, it's going to be outside of Spokane.
Correct.
And they're all here except one.
Correct.
Okay.
So we have business owners that want to be successful
Right.
here. We have parents who want their kids
Yes.
to have at least the opportunity to stay
Exactly.
here, raise their grandkids in this community,
Exactly.
Shorten the visit time, all that kind of
Yep.
stuff. And so it's absolutely critical that we find people in these elected positions that have the best interests of this community in mind, and that don't make us less competitive with other communities.
Or think that they know how to run a business better than business people do.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I'm
And
not going
so
to mention names, but
we need the infrastructure.
Yeah.
We need the infrastructure in
Yeah.
place. But there's a lot of
make it
extremely
appealing and get out of the way.
Yes, there's
And
a lot of
this-
extremely creative business owners out there,
Yeah.
and they will flourish if we give them the environment to flourish.
Absolutely. Great
Yes.
message. Todd, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks for all that you're doing and all that GSI is doing
Absolutely.
for the community.
Thank you much.
And we'll see you next month. I think the first week or so of June.
Sounds great.
You're coming back, all right?
Sounds great.
All right, probably another trip or two in between, but
Maybe.
we'll talk about it. Speaking of elections, we have a candidate for the mayor's position a year from this fall who will join us next on Spokane Talks Live.
The economy is getting stronger. Banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com.
Is your child having trouble coping with a personal disability, but don't know where to go? Consider our friends at Breakthrough Incorporated. Breakthrough takes great pride in mentoring their DDA clients who have intellectual disabilities and their BRS clients who have challenging behaviors toward the creation of safe, appropriate, ethically sound life goals. They integrate programs at school and home to enrich their lives. They work hard to make a positive difference in you and your family's lives. Breakthrough provides a highly structured, fully staffed residential setting in local neighborhoods, 6 in Spokane and 2 in the Tri-Cities. Diagnoses affect people differently, so their service to each resident is unique, giving them the opportunity to grow and evolve. For more information on Breakthrough, visit their website at breakthroughincorporated.org.
You're really doing it. You're ready to buy a house. You know what you can afford, you've got a pre-approval letter, and you and your partner haven't killed each other yet. Now's the fun part. First, think about your main requirements.
Location,
House type,
square footage,
number of beds and baths,
Garage.
property age,
Then think about specific features.
waterfront,
pool,
local schools,
neighborhood safety,
walking distance to parks.
proximity to a decent Turkish bathhouse.
HO.
From there, input all your search criteria. Min and max prices, number of beds and baths, single fam, multifam, condo, co-op, villa, townhouse, farm, whatever. You can even draw your own custom search around the neighborhood you want. The open house is the most fun you can have in real estate. It's like having carte blanche to walk into a total stranger's house and snoop around while they're not there. Here are a few pointers. First, feel free to step in without knocking or ringing the bell. Unless you see a note saying otherwise, in which case, yes, knock and/or ring. It's generally considered good open house etiquette to wait until a group of buyers leaves a room or area before entering.
What we were talking about. Let's check it out. I know, so.
Listen to what other buyers are saying. They may know something about the property or neighborhood that you don't.
I bet they don't even know they have
Oh,
this.
no. Ask questions about the house, how long it's been on the market, the school district, the property taxes, but keep it cool. Don't give yourself away by sounding too excited.
And the schools in this area are incredible.
Woo!
They're actually building a brand new one 3 blocks away.
What?
And it should be open in the middle of next year.
Please do not steal. Finally, if there are snacks or refreshments, do not take them. It'll skew your perspective. Unless they're mini quiches. Those little are tasty as hell.
Welcome back. A year from this November, there's going to be a mayor's race. David Condon is termed out because of the 2 terms. We have those limits here in Spokane. Sometimes on our city council, that's the only way we can get to replace people, but I don't mean that for David, but I mean just, well, okay, I won't go there. Shawn Poole, you have been a firefighter for I don't know how many years. You've been in the service, you've been in Spokane City Fire Department, and you're retired now from that, right?
I'm retired from the Army Reserves. I'm still an active professional firefighter
okay.
in Spokane.
Okay. What got going in your mind that you decided that maybe you could be mayor of the city of Spokane? Do I need to bring a psychiatrist in or something like that? Are you really crazy? No, seriously.
I ask myself that every day.
Yeah,
And this was all born out of a conversation I had at dinner one night with then Mayor Werner and Ted Danek. She was gracious enough to take myself and a colleague of mine on the Spokane Fire Department, who's also a military veteran, out to dinner after we redeployed back to the States from Afghanistan and Iraq.
Yeah.
And we joked that night about I was going to run for mayor, and this was probably 8 years ago. I was going to run for mayor, and then I was going to make Captain Andy Bessemer the fire chief. And nothing ever became of it. But then, as I went further in my career in the fire department, it became obvious that I didn't like the direction that this city was taking. Especially working downtown. There's a lot of things that are wrong in the city.
Yeah.
There's a lot of basic necessities that city government owes the citizens of Spokane, and they're not meeting those basic necessities. Potholes. Yeah. Everybody talks about it all the time, but I mean, let's fix the roads.
Yeah.
Before we...
And why are we different than other cities that face the same snow, melt, warmth problems with the streets that seem to solve it, and we can't? I don't get it.
I think our priorities are not in line. We have priorities on the fire department, and those priorities, in my opinion, are not in line with what the citizens of the city deserve.
Right.
Let's fix the basic infrastructure first.
Right.
And that's why my campaign platform is pretty basic. There's 4 talking points. Fraud, waste, and abuse in city government. Fix the potholes.
Yes.
The homeless transient population.
Yes.
And public safety.
Yeah.
Let's fix the roads. Let's put more police on the streets.
Yes.
And let's find a way to do it without raising taxes.
Right.
And that's where fraud, waste, and abuse comes into play.
Yeah.
If we cut some of this fluff stuff from city government, we can realize a real cost savings.
But you've got a city council right now that pretty much sees the city and the area in pretty good times right now in terms of the tax revenue and everything else. And so they're kind of out there spending for this and spending for that. And that isn't going to last forever because we know there are downturns. It's just going to happen. I don't care how great it is today. In 6 years, 4 years, 8 years, there's going to be a leveling off, if not a downturn for a while. It just happens. History tells us that. And I start to worry, as do others, that we're setting ourselves up for failures and still not taking care of the potholes and some of the basics that we need to take care of.
Well, believe it or not, there's still streets in Spokane that are not even paved.
Yeah.
If we don't address this issue now,
it's not going to get
any better.
Not
going to get any better.
No.
And we're going to be 6, 8, 10 years down the road, and revenue's going to fall off, and we're still going to be stuck with roads that have potholes because we haven't addressed them.
And probably a mandate from the state or federal government that you can't have roads without pavement. So now where are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's before you get into things like the North Monroe Street Road Diet, which I oppose. I mean, you've got a bunch of businesses up there that are suffering because you want to take a 5-lane down to a 3-lane.
Yeah.
People say that it's proven to work over on East Sprague.
It hasn't proven to me. Okay.
Drive East Sprague in rush hour traffic.
Yeah.
And it's backed up for miles.
Yeah.
Not to mention you've got cars idling in those areas during those rush hour times, and it's contributing to the pollution.
Right.
So let's fix the stuff first in our infrastructure before we do road diets and those types of things.
Let's go. I'm going to take a little trip back and let's talk about who you are and your background. I got a kick out of the fact that I mentioned to you that we have water and coffee out here, and we have a little refrigerator for cold water, and your response was, well, I spent a tour of duty in Afghanistan. I'm used to warm water, which I chuckled at that. But that says something about who you are, though, too. So talk about who you are.
Oh, gosh. Do you have a long time?
No.
Good. I'm a jeans and T-shirt type of guy.
Yeah, yeah.
I grew up in this city. I care about this city.
Yeah.
I've got a history.
You went to Shadle, right?
I went to Shadle Park.
Okay.
Shadle Park grad.
Right.
Got a scholarship to play football at University of Montana.
Okay.
Simultaneously, I joined ROTC.
Okay.
And got my commission.
Good.
Graduated. Then went on active duty.
Okay.
Spent 4 years on active duty at Fort Hood, Texas.
Okay.
Moved back to Spokane because I wanted to raise a family back here.
Yeah.
Wanted to give something back to the community that was so good to me.
Yeah.
Growing up. And
lo and behold, through all of this, we found out the other day that I knew your mom. I know your mom, who
Yes, sir,
lives
you
in
do.
Miami, I think now, doesn't it? Or somewhere
She
in
lives
Florida?
on the west coast of Florida.
West coast of Florida. Okay.
And she's currently
Talk about a small world.
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
So, in '92, I got on with the fire department.
Okay.
Because, like I said, I wanted to give back.
Right.
At the same time, I got in the Army Reserve system, and I need to correct you on something. I was in Iraq, not Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay. Sorry.
'92, got in the fire department, joined the Army Reserves at the same time. I just retired July 1st of 2017 with 30 years in the Army Reserves.
Really, 30 years.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
So I was promoted to full bird colonel in 2014 and retired in 2017.
You see, that alone to me gives you a lot of credentials for how to manage people and organizations.
Well, it's funny. People ask me, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Or, what enables you to be able to run a city?
Right, right.
And I'm not a subject matter expert in planning. I'm not a subject matter expert in, urban growth. I'm not a subject matter expert in a lot of areas. And that's why those department heads get paid a lot of money to be the subject matter experts. I'm a subject matter expert, and I have a proven track record of leadership.
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't take a lot of common sense. You provide leadership at city government.
Right.
You give people a mission, you give them a direction, and then you hold them accountable.
And give them the resources.
Correct.
Yep.
So, although I don't have experience in government, I have experience in leadership, and I have experience in holding people accountable, because I think accountability has been lost.
Yeah.
There's no consequences for your actions. If you're a department head and you have a $50 million budget and you go $2.5 million over budget, then something has to happen.
Yeah.
If I were a CEO and I did that, I'd probably be looking for a new
Or how about
job.
$67 million at WSU Athletic Department? Okay. Yeah. Somebody was missing the accounting system, and they want to blame it on too many tickets here and too many tickets. It's more systemic than that. It's not just free tickets here, free tickets there.
Well, it's too easy these days for people to pass the buck or blame somebody else. It's somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
You know what? Be a man about it, own it, and then move on.
Then fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not the most articulate guy in the world. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. But I own what I do.
Yeah.
And I take responsibility for what I do. I love this city.
Yes.
It's been so great to me, and the Spokane Fire Department's been so great to me. I want to give back, and I think this is another step in giving back. Quite frankly, I want to retire at some point in time.
Yeah.
I want to be able to live my life.
Yeah,
and enjoy
don't
it.
follow what I've done, okay? I failed retirement here, okay?
Okay.
But it is true. I think it's important, and your mom would know this about me, and your mom too, to be involved in the community and to give back. And I think it becomes, really part of what many of us do, and to step up and want to do that, especially to step up in kind of a little bit of a frightening area to jump from what you've been doing into politics. You know, that's a leap, okay?
It is a leap.
And you're going to learn so much, too.
It's a leap, but it's probably not nearly as frightening as being in a combat zone like Iraq or Afghanistan.
Okay. That's true. That's true.
So it's, common sense, leadership, accountability.
Right.
It's pretty basic to me. I tell people I'm a blue-collar, knuckle-dragging firefighter with a decent resume.
Yes. I remember seeing that when you sent the note to me, too. Yeah.
And sometimes when I talk, I sound like a blue-collar, knuckle-dragging firefighter.
Yeah, I got the kick out of your Facebook posting with the video the other day, and apparently people were giving you advice and counsel. Maybe too many people.
That was actually my mom.
Was it really?
Truth be told. So I've been out of Facebook for a long time.
Yeah, it's probably smart.
It got a little old, having people post about broccoli being $1.29 a pound at Safeway. And so I decided to do this video because somebody said, if you're getting into a political race, then you need to have videos. And so I did this. Video and I posted it.
Yeah.
And no more than 5 minutes later, my mom texted me and said, I have a couple women friends that when they do selfies, they hold the camera above their head, so it makes your chin, the double chin syndrome.
Yep.
And I was looking at this text going, holy smokes. So then I posted the hold the camera inches above outer space so that you can.
That's what we have to do here.
I would have expected that from some pundit out there, but it was my mom.
Your mom.
Yeah. So thanks, Mom.
Not much you can say and retort, is there?
No,
you have to be a little careful. Yeah.
I just have to say
moms
yes,
are still
ma'am.
moms. Yeah. Yes, you do. Shawn, thank you for coming today. It's good. I know we're going to see a lot of you in the next year and a half, I guess, actually, when we start looking at it, because your campaign really begins in about a year from now. I mean, as we get ready to file and the primary and all that, but it's good to see people out there. People kind of know where I stand a little bit with the one declared candidate for that's currently the president of the council who wants to be mayor, and they know I don't support that individual. So it's good to see others step up and want to serve our city because it's an important role. And I think don't worry about being polished and stuff. Sometimes being polished isn't the best thing. To be yourself and to be true to yourself then gives us a really good lesson as a voter and people who want you in that position.
I think that's why people can identify with me because I'm not a politician.
Yeah.
I never claim to be.
Yeah.
I'm just a guy who wants to do something for this city and make it a better place to live.
Well, great. So we'll see you back here soon then, okay?
Thank you very much for having me.
Hey, thanks for watching today. We've got a great program coming up at about 1:30 today on Business Talks with Ryan McNeese. He's got Matt Santangelo from Hoop Fest going to be here live at about 1:30. And then I'll see you next Tuesday on Spokane Talks Live. Have a great week, everybody.
Spokane Talks Live is produced in Spokane, Washington by Spokane Talks Online, LLC, which is solely responsible for its content. To recommend a guest or topic, or to see this program again, please visit our website, SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Spokane Talks Live is brought to you by our friends at Homes for You and Breakthrough Incorporated. Join us next Wednesday, noon, for another nourishing conversation on Spokane Talks Live.